Hello, this is Tyron Danielson, and today I will be presenting a disease named Leigh's disease. All right. So, for the introduction, Leigh's disease was first discovered in 1951 by a British psychiatrist named Dennis Archibald Leigh, and he described the disease to be incurable, early onset neurodegenerative disease caused by a mitochondrial dysfunction, which is it's a hereditary genetic defect. The disease is also described as heterogeneous, meaning specific symptoms vary among different people. Generally speaking, the major symptom, though, is neurodevelopmental deterioration, meaning it impacts the ability to speak, move, learn, and in turn, one of the side effects can be dysphagia, which is your difficulty in swallowing. Um, this deterioration is also many and in many cases accompanied by brainstem dysfunction, uh, which can also cause severe seizures. The disease affects 1 in 40,000 births, making it very rare. However, in some regions in Quebec, Canada, 1 in 2,000 infants are born with this disease. And in on the Faroe Islands, a Danish territory, 1 in 1,700 newborns are diagnosed with this disease, and which I think is interesting. Some populations are affected more than others. Uh, Unfortunately, the disease typically leads to death within the first 3 years of life due to respiratory failure. However, a small number of adult cases have existed. All right, moving on. Oh, there's this is Dennis Archibald Leigh. The disease mechanisms. Okay, so those without Leigh's disease possess functional mitochondria that properly carry out the process of oxidative phosphorylation, um, and this is because they don't have the genetic mutations related to the disease. Leigh's disease is caused by a mutation of one of more than 110 associated genes found either in the nuclear or mitochondrial DNA. 80% of individuals with Leigh's disease possess a mutation in their nuclear DNA, while the other 20% in their mitochondrial DNA. In order for oxidative phosphorylation to occur, there's 5 protein complexes that must come together, and they assemble to function properly in the process of creating adenosine triphosphate or ATP. Um, the disruption of any of these 5 complexes can lead to a deficiency in ATP within cells in the body. The interference of these complexes is the most common cause of LD. There are some others, but they're much more rare. We'll talk about that later. Um, Much less common mutations affect the following processes: um, coenzyme Q10, pyruvate hydrogenase, mitochondrial translation, and mitochondrial maintenance. These mutations have ultimately the same effect, uh, which is ATP deficiency in your cells. And with the absence of the sufficient ATP levels in high energy cells like the cells in your muscles, in your brain, and your heart, cell death becomes rampant. And this widespread cell death creates lesions in the brain tissue, and most importantly, the brain tissue associated with movement, coordination, swallowing, and breathing. All right. For the symptoms, Leigh's disease um, leads to many possible symptoms, like we discussed before. These include, but are not limited to, ataxia, which is the loss of control over your muscles, dysphagia, which is the difficulty in swallowing, seizures. Seizures are uncontrolled electrical activity between brain cells, so they cause spontaneous jerking or limpness, um, can even cause individuals to go unconscious. Um, and also hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is the thickening of the heart muscles, um, and that makes the body um, require more energy to pump blood throughout the body. And some other ones are buildup of excessive amounts of lactate in the blood, urine, and spinal fluid, um, and the and all of this really is due to the loss of muscle control, and is attributed to the lesions. And these lesions are found typically in the basal ganglia, which is important for the movement in your body, the cerebellum, which is important for your balance and your coordination, and the brainstem, which is important for not just, but for the sake of this disease, it affects your breathing and swallowing when the brainstem becomes destroyed. Um, as discussed previously, these lesions are believed to be created as a consequence of the ATP deficiency in the brain tissues. And these brain tissues require large amounts of energy. Sadly, as an individual continues to live with this disease, the condition worsens over time until death. In mild cases, the patient's condition will take longer to deteriorate, but the end result remains the same. All right. So, for diagnosis, the detection of Leigh's disease typically begins with noticing excessive vomiting, diarrhea, and difficulty swallowing in infants. Um, Many tests can be used to diagnose Leigh's disease. These include deletion slash duplication analysis, um, enzyme analysis, targeted mutation analysis, and sequence analysis of the entire coding region, really. Um, and due to the causal mutation spanning across over 110 possible genes, individual cases are often quite unique. And because of the rarity of the disease itself, and the variety of possible genes, um, no cure nor any substantial treatment has been developed since its discovery uh, some odd 70 years ago. All right, and so the prognosis. Um, as Leigh's disease is a degenerative disease without a cure, um, its prognosis is very poor and ends in death, no matter what stage the disease is discovered or diagnosed in. Um, some minor quality of life treatments that are considered but not scientifically proven um, include a high fat, low carb diet, as some patients are found to have low levels of pyruvate hydrogenase, an enzyme, and so uh, the high amounts of fat um, really help with that. And vitamin B1, also known as thiamine, administration. So yeah, vitamin B1 is a very important coenzyme used in the process of converting carbs into energy. And in most cases, individuals die within 2 to 3 years after birth from acute respiratory failure. Um, However, one study suggests that 20% of patients have the potential to um, reach 20 years of age. And But being only one study, this conclusion is not considered a scientific fact in the articles that I read. Um, However, in the most remarkable and rare of cases, individuals have reached adulthood, but eventually succumb to their disease soon thereafter. All right, so these are my 6 references. I referenced scientific articles from government uh, publications, um, and then I found a couple, like 1 or 2 organizations that helped a lot with the information on this PowerPoint. But yeah, that's all. Thank you.